this is Lauri Flaquer of Saltar Solutions, and I'm here today to bring you another episode of Focus Forward. And I have Pete Machalek of SagePresence, who has coached over $2 billion in competitive sales, and he's here to talk about sales. So, Pete, tell us, what are you going to be able to tell us about sales? What's the difference between networking and sales? Because a lot of people have a confusion about that. Yeah. And I know you've been on the show before and you've talked about networking, so tell us about that.
Big, huge difference between networking and sales is networking needs to be all about the people that you're talking about, all about the people that you're talking to. Networking is about going to those conversations to help them, and you're helping them with everybody in your network. Sales is all about them, and it's all about helping them, but it's not bringing your network to help them. It's bringing you and your services and your company to help them. So the shape of the conversation is exactly the same. The way I think about it, the main character of the conversation is still exactly the same. The only difference is who is what I call the hero in the middle of the story that's making a difference for the people that you're talking to. When it's networking, the hero in the middle is your network. When it's sales, the hero in the middle is you and your company.
Wow. I think we're going to have to break that down a little bit more. Okay, so when you talk about main character, what exactly do you mean? Okay.
All right, one thing you need to know about me is I've got a film background. So everything that I talk about, everything that I think about kind of goes back to the metaphor of film. And really, that's such a powerful way to think about things because we all know movies. Mm-hmm. Every movie, every compelling movie has a very specific main character that experiences the change over the course of the story. The mistake that most of us make when we network or when we sell, when we kind of go out, is we think, okay, well, this is about me or this is about my company. We think the job is to tell my story, and it just plain isn't. Networking and sales both are about creating the story of the person that you're talking to.
So if networking and sales are about creating a story for the person or creating the story for the person you're talking to. Mm-hmm.
How do we do that?
Well, yeah, that seems a little bit confusing to me because it seems like sales is going out and getting something you want. So that seems kind of different than what you're saying. When I think about sales, I think, okay, I'm going to go out. Well, a lot of people think this. I'm going to go out and I'm going to sell something and I'm going to bring home money.
I'm going to go drum up business by I'm going to beat beat the bushes and I'm just going to get out there and talk as much about me and my company and my services and my products or whatever as much as possible so that people can get interested in what I have to offer. And it just doesn't work like that. At least I don't think it works well like that. I suppose there is some value to that. Networking and sales are both relationship driven. People only like to buy from you when they like you, when they trust you, when they believe that you have something that will help them. And the way to communicate that is to actually be there in the conversation about the other person. You know, there is a tremendous misunderstanding about sales, and I was hampered with this misunderstanding most of my life. I thought of sales as being this pushy thing of, no offense to car salesmen out there, but, that prototypical, huckster, slick thing of, I got just the thing for you. It's like, you know what? You don't know me. I don't trust that you've got the thing for me because you don't know anything about me. But if you go out there with the idea that it's not about talking about yourself, it's not about talking about your company or your services or out there or anything like that, it's about learning about other people and finding out what they need and really being there in the conversation from that perspective, you know, people are going to feel, wow, what a breath of fresh air. This person really does actually seem to care about me. I mean, they don't seem to be in a big rush to talk about themselves and what a huge difference their service will make for me. They really seem to care about what's going on for me that I'm struggling with and what I'm after that's better. When you do that, you position yourself as the person in the middle who can help them get from where they are now to where they want to be. And you're creating this sense of trust because you're being there for them. You're being there to create their story. And when I say create their story, you're asking questions and they're giving you information that's grist for the story here in the not so happy beginning situation and here in the happier ending situation.
So you have a series of questions that you ask potential clients to go through.
Yeah, and I very rarely script questions for my clients. I don't say here are the magical questions to ask. It's more like here are the zones to ask questions in. So the kinds of questions to ask are, so what's going on for you right now that you're struggling with? A lot of people ask the question, you know, what's keeping you up nights right now? Those are good, not so happy beginning questions. Good, happy ending questions are like, so what are you working for? Or like, you know, if this year goes the way that you want it to go, if you get everything out of this year that you want, what's it look like for you at the end of the year? You know, get people to really describe the situation, both at the end of the story and at the beginning of the story, so that you can provide the action, or at least some of the actions, that will get them from where they are now to where they want to be.
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes when you ask that, okay, what's the happy ending question?
Yeah.
Do you think that sometimes people haven't really thought about that?
You know, that's a great question. Yeah, it's very true. A lot of people are a lot more in tune with what's going on right now for me that I'm not happy with, and very often less in tune with what it is that they're after. So you know what, you can actually provide a lot of value just by leading a conversation about that. You know, yeah, I've asked that question. You know, a variation of the question that I just threw out. So tell me what success looks like. And I'll go, oh, wow. You know, nobody's ever asked me that before. Well, you know, I'm making more money. I actually have more flexibility in my schedule. You know, I can actually spend time with my family. You know, I can take the occasional weekend off, stuff like that. Because so many people are kind of focused on what needs to happen right now. They don't really know why. You get them to think about that, and then the flexibility about what needs to happen right now starts to open up, and you can actually suggest things that you can do, or that somebody you know can do, to make a difference for them and create the result that they're after.
Well, it sounds like that in itself, asking that question and helping them figure it out, is a great way to actually then move into, well, we can help you do that, because a lot of people, they don't have time. They're busy doing this. They can't even look up at where they're going.
You know, that is so true. So yeah, really what I'm describing here is a consultative sales process. And consultative really is the crucial concept here. It does take time. You know, there is this interactive process that you're bringing into the mix. And what that does is it kind of brings time into the mix. So many of us, me included, feel like we don't have time for anything. And when somebody actually takes the time to ask me questions and actually takes the time to really process them, it's sort of, it's not only a breath of fresh air, but you know, it's kind of like those bellows that blow fresh air into it. You know, it's like, oh, wow. You know, I guess, you know, having the ability to take the time to talk about my story really creates this space that I didn't know I needed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. It totally makes sense. A lot of the work that I'm doing with Jack Canfield now, they talk about visioning and figuring these things out and then keeping that vision in your mind. If people are so busy, and most people are, that they're not really able to look up, they can't see it, there's no way they can even vision it.
Right, right.
So, you know, you can't, you're just busy doing every single day. So, for instance, when you go in and you work with a company and you help them figure out what that happy ending is, you know what the unhappy beginning is. They're very aware of the unhappy beginning because they're living it every day.
Right.
And then how do you take them to get to that, happy ending? You know, what steps do you take to get there?
Typically, we're working with a group of people who are preparing for a specific pitch. Sometimes they call it an interview. And their not so happy beginning is we don't have a good message we believe in, and we're feeling a fair amount of anxiety, and we don't know what we're doing. We don't know how to present this well. You know, usually the people that we're working with are the people who are going to deliver the work, as opposed to the people who have been trained to sell, who have been trained to communicate.
So you're saying that these are not generally salespeople that you're helping to...
Right. More and more these days, it's the producers who are expected to be able to sell, who are expected to be able to talk about the value that they do, rather than just provide the value that they do. So yeah, they haven't been trained to talk. They've just been trained to do the work. And by and large, in general, people don't like to do stuff that they don't feel like they've mastered. So anyway, there's a fair amount of anxiety. What we do for them is we help them design the message that's really going to resonate for the decision makers that they're going to be meeting with. We help them make a really meaningful connection with the people that they're talking to, and we help them deliver their message in a way that they can believe in, that they can feel confident about, so that they can be themselves when they're speaking, because that's one of the huge things that gets in people's way. They feel like they can't be their authentic self. They think of themselves as not dynamic or not interesting enough to really be worthy of talking about it. We help them be themselves more powerfully when, you know, the bright lights are on.
Okay, so now I really have to get into this and find out. You're taking people that are not salespeople, so that they're probably more on the introverted side. Would you say that?
Yep.
And they have a body of knowledge that they draw from, and that's what they use on a regular basis to actually do whatever the project is. And you teach them how to sell.
Yeah, yeah.
And be okay about it, because a lot of people would think, I have to be somebody else, I have to be flamboyant, I have to be this, I have to be that.
Right. Yeah, and very often it's like I have to say the magic words that they're listening for. Yeah, all of that you just said gets in people's way.
Wow. So so if you had to put your finger on one trick for sales, what would that one trick or that one overarching tip be to help people that aren't salespeople?
Great question.
You know, be able to sell.
Great question. And what I want to talk about is kind of the opposite of a trick. You know, I don't like to think in terms of tricks and techniques and stuff. It's more like a mindset.
Okay.
The mindset that gets in people's way the most about sales is they believe that selling is about pushing something onto people. And then they do one of two things. Either they push and they succeed in pushing somebody away, or it's like, I just don't want to push, so I won't do it at all. So it's either total push or I won't even try. Huge, you know, it's a huge problem on both sides. So we tell people that they're thinking about sales wrong. Sales is not about pushing. It's really about helping. And people do want to help. You know, the people who deliver the work, part of the reason why they love to do the work is they know that the work will help, you know, the clients. When they're some of our clients are like construction folks. So, they love to build a building. And they know that their clients will be so much happier when the right building that they're after is up. They love every day seeing their handiwork and seeing, oh my gosh, this is really going to help the hospital people or the patients or the school or the students or, whatever they're building. They're so proud of making a difference of the people who are going to benefit from their work. We help them bring that into the mix. We help them bring this sense of helping. So everybody out there is an expert, and we help them bring their expertise to these sales conversations so that it really is a consultative conversation where all they're doing is bringing their expertise and talking about what they know that will make a difference. So an interview or a pitch stops being like, hey, here's what we could do for you, and it becomes, here's what really needs to happen for you. No matter who does this work, make sure that they're doing it this way. Make sure that this happens. Focus on this because this is going to make all the difference for this project. And when they're coming at it from that perspective, they're focused on their expertise. They're focused on how their expertise can help them. And they're not at all focused on what do they think of me right now? And are they gonna pick me? And am I landing the way that I want to land? They are totally focused on the potential client, and that's where their attention needs to be.
Okay, so now it sounds like it's changed from a sales process to a partnership.
Ooh, that's a great way to put it. Yeah. See, sales, the whole sales dynamic is very often either salesperson up here, prospect down here, whereas like, where it becomes this pushy thing. Or if you are sort of insecure, then it's like, oh, please pick me, please buy from me. What you just described is spot on. It's this partnership dynamic where you're on the same level with the prospect and you're just there to help. And whether they choose you or not is kind of irrelevant. You're just there to communicate your expertise that's going to make a difference for them.
Wow. So that sounds like that would very possibly take the group that you're trying to sell to kind of off base. They're listening more to your message, and they're saying, we probably would want to use these people because they're giving us so much great advice.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I could see where those relationships, and then those long-term relationships would form because of that. Very interesting. I'm reading this book now on negotiation from Donald Trump's key negotiator. Okay, has been working with Trump for years and years. And he said negotiation is not a win-loss thing. That's not at all what it is. What it is that you're coming together to strike a deal that everybody is going to be happy with. Nobody's going to get 100% of anything. Nobody's going to lose 100%. What it is that you're putting a deal together that people can be happy with. And that is the primary goal in negotiation. It sounds like the same thing you're talking about.
Yes, and actually, yeah, we have worked with people on negotiations too, and yeah, I couldn't agree more with that concept. So, how I said that I always think of things in story structure. Negotiation story structure, the main character is all of us. And at the beginning of the story, we're on two separate pages. We're seeing things in a different way. The end of the story is we're on the same page together. The middle is this negotiation where we just figure out what needs to happen, who needs to get what, so that in the end, we're all happy. It totally is a very simple process of moving the right main character from this disjointed, not so happy situation to this unified position that everybody's happy with.
So if you were going to talk about negotiation, would that be your primary functionality to a negotiation? Would that be the system that you would use? That you interview the person, you find out where they are, where they want to go, you understand where you are, you understand where you want to go, and how you could bring it together? Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, basically, yeah. We've worked with a leader who was heading into a really complex conversation with several parties. And it was so great. It was a perfect opportunity for us to help. This woman had already had several meetings with these folks, and they had been ongoingly frustrating meetings because people just could not get on the same page. So we trained her to step up and lead the meeting. You know, she wasn't in a position to lead the meeting. You know, it's not like she had the authority over anybody else in the room. But we showed her how to step up, and we showed her. Basically what we said is, you guys, right now we are not on the same page about this stuff. What we need to be, where we need to be is all on the same page. And so what this meeting needs to be about is all of us getting on the same page. So do I have your permission to steer the conversation in that way? And everybody said, yeah, gosh, that would be great. You know, everybody wanted. Yeah, if we can walk out of here all on the same page, absolutely. We've just been burning time. Nobody wants to burn time. So they let her take this leadership role, lead the negotiation. At the end, everybody got something that they wanted. Mm-hmm. Everybody recognized that there were certain sacrifices to make in order for us to be on the same page. Everybody was really happy. Everybody thanked her for leading that conversation. So yeah, I totally agree. Negotiation isn't about beating somebody. Right. It's about taking everybody and leading them to this conclusive spot where everybody is happy enough.
Wow, yeah, that's exactly it. I find it really fascinating. So when we're talking about sales, getting back to sales, when we're talking about sales, would you actually work with entrepreneurs to teach them this method of sales, or this, how to have these sales conversations?
Yep, yeah. We work with entrepreneurs to help them build relationships in the networking scenarios so that they can find themselves in a sales situation. And when they are in a sales situation, that's when it's appropriate to start talking about you and your business and how it can make a difference for the prospect. So yeah, we teach people how to create messages that are compelling to their target audience, and we teach them to deliver these messages in a really compelling way that prospects hear is about them as opposed to about, the entrepreneur, so that prospects can hear the difference that their company will make for them.
So question, you just said target market or target audience.
Yeah.
So how many businesses or entrepreneurs do you think are confused about their target audience?
Well, you would know that better than me. But yeah, I would say it's a tremendous percentage. And it's easy to have quandaries about that. I know that when our company started, we help business professionals present themselves more powerfully and effectively. That's like the universe, mm-hmm. It's so easy to shotgun. Mm-hmm. A huge thing that you gave us was this notion of you got to focus. Figure out who your ideal client is. Who are they? What situation are they in when you can make the most difference to them? How do you actually do that? What do you actually do for them? And what's the better situation at the end? That's the structure of the basic story that we help people create. And you'll notice that's the story not about them or their company, but about their target client. Mm-hmm. So that's the story to communicate when you're sitting down with a client or with a prospect.
Wow. Okay, that's great, because I find that most people are very confused about their target market.
Yeah.
Think it's everybody, or don't really think about these psychographic identifiers of the target market.
Yeah,
so they have no idea.
And psychographic identifiers. Who talks like that? They should, but even just
or how they think,
the
or
demographics.
What they do. Yeah, they don't. Yeah. They have no clue. So if we're going to be able to give us 3 tips.
Yeah.
For sales,
mm-hmm.
What are 3 tips that anybody could use to improve their sales process?
Okay, great.
Or their result, if you will.
Great. I'll try to limit it to 3. So one huge one is recognize when a sales conversation is actually appropriate, because a lot of people think of networking and sales being this mushy thing. you don't want to sell right out of the chute when you're meeting somebody. So recognize that sales conversations should only happen when the other person has proven that they are indeed in your target market and they are in a situation that you can make a difference for them. Second thing is get out of your own way. Yes, you have an agenda. Yes, you do want to sell, but having that agenda can really get in the way of being in the conversation for the other person. So think about it not as an agenda, think about it as a goal. It sure would be great if I could succeed with this person, but don't let that goal be so big that becomes the whole conversation. Mm-hmm. Third thing is, this emotional piece. You know, emotion really does need to be at the heart of selling. You want to make a meaningful connection with the people that you're talking to, and negative emotions totally get in the way of a healthy conversation. You want to appreciate the people that you're talking to, so that you're managing the quality of the conversation. You're making it as high quality as possible.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, well that's really great. So is there anything else that you can tell us very quickly, because we're almost out of time?
Sure. Let me tell you about this book that we have coming out. It's called Winning Presence for Business Presenters. My partner Dean Hires wrote it, I edited it, and we are having a book launch November 1st. We are really excited about this. This has been a long time coming. What this is it's all about everything that we've learned over the course of the last 11 years when it comes to presenting yourself powerfully and effectively under pressure. When you're selling, when you're networking, when you're leading, when you are public speaking. It's all about how to win over audiences when you're truly looking to make a difference for them.
Okay, well thank you so much, Pete, for your time. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. Tune in again to Focus Forward.
Hey there, I'm Robert Dempsey with your Tips from the Net. And today I want to talk about developing a large keyword profile. And excuse me as I kind of laugh about that. What that means is that you want your website to rank for as many keywords as possible, because the larger of a profile you have, the more people that you can capture on the search engines and bring back to your website, therefore increasing the potential of leads and sales. So two things I want to talk about and how to go about creating this keyword profile is, number one, think of the larger topics around your business and then work your way down. So what I mean by that is, let's say you're selling organic coffee. I'm a big fan of coffee. Now, a number of topics around that are just organic farming. Generally speaking, you can talk about the processes that go into that. You could interview farmers. You can create a lot of content around that. You could talk about the whole coffee roasting process for people that might be interested in how exactly you go about that. So think of the high level and then work your way down, looking at all the topics that surround your business, your products and services specifically. Now, number two is the more pages, the better. Now, again, this goes back to having more keywords. The only way to get more keywords, a larger keyword profile, is to have more content. So I'm not going to say write as many pages as you possibly can, because you really want to make each one count and make sure that each page that you write is focused on only one topic. So that's it for today. Again, create the large keyword profile, look at the big topics, narrow them down, write a lot of content about it, and then get that stuff shared. And I will see you during the next tips.